me know what you whisper. They have lost their protector. Now is our time to strike.
Action!
Remember Avengers Endgame and that absolute tearjerker of an ending with the death of Iron Man? I'm not exaggerating when I say Marvel fans around the world were left in a blubbering mess after that.
Oh God!
Marvel Studios were lauded at the time for how they handled this poignant farewell to such a beloved character. Of course, the actor who played Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., is very much still alive, despite his best efforts back in the 90s, so what we're talking about here is a tribute to a fictional death. Doing the same thing for a real person, though, as it turns out, is considerably more difficult. But that was the task acclaimed director Ryan Coogler faced when he set out to make a sequel to his 2018 box office smash Black Panther, less than a year after the death of Chadwick Boseman, who of course was the actor who played the titular character. Boseman, as we all know, tragically passed away in 2020, surrounded by loved ones after a lengthy and very private battle with colon cancer. He'd played T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, since 2016's Captain America Civil War, and in the years since had become more than just another superhero.
What happens now determines what happens to the rest of the world.
The character and his fictional home of Wakanda, a high-tech and hidden African kingdom that had never been subject to white colonization, were fully realised in that standalone film. With its soundtrack of Kendrick Lamar bangers, the first Black Panther movie was groundbreaking in terms of on-screen representation and quickly rose to icon status, especially among people of colour, and it generated more than $2 billion at the global box office.
Show me my respect and bow down.
Boseman's T'Challa would go on to appear in other Marvel movies, the last of which was 2019's Endgame. Coogler had fully intended the actor to reprise the role in Wakanda Forever, but Boseman's passing forced a rewrite of the script to include T'Challa's death, with the studio deciding not to recast the role or use digital effects to resurrect him. Instead, the reworked project focused on the other characters from the first film: T'Challa's sister Shuri, played by Letitia Wright, his mother Ramonda, played by the great Angela Bassett, the commander of his royal guard Okoye, played by Danai Gurira, and the love of his life and fierce Wakandan war dog Nakia, played by Oscar winner Lupita Nyong'o. It's a narrative choice that leans into another important representation element of the original: powerful female characters. Now, set after the events of Endgame, the new film opens with an awkward scene designed to depict T'Challa's off-screen passing from a medical condition, followed by a funeral procession through Wakanda. One suspects the actor's tears in this scene are very real, but there's something that feels a little crass about folding Boseman's death into the plot of a Marvel movie, even though everyone involved clearly had honourable intentions. A drawn-out epilogue at the end pays a final tribute to the actor as well, which is completely understandable as a creative decision by the filmmakers, but it weighs the movie down without ever giving the impression of real emotional weight. As for what's in between, well, I hate to say it, but it's obviously inferior to the first Black Panther movie, which was an electrifying piece of cinema, as the sequel tries just too hard to make us care about characters that are struggling to elevate themselves beyond supporting role status.
He's coming for the surface world.
When the sequel gives us a spiritual plane dream sequence featuring Michael B. Jordan's excellent Killmonger from the original, it only reinforces the limitations of this cast to carry the movie on their own. The exception is the villain of the piece, Namor, who is actually one of Marvel's oldest characters. He dates back to 1939, can you believe it? And is played brilliantly here by Mexican actor Tenoch Huerta.
There is a new world power at play.
Are you an ally or an enemy?
Seriously, Huerta is awesome, and this won't be the last time you see him in the MCU. But even Namor's motivation is a bit muddled. His underwater kingdom, Aquaman much, can't decide between forming an alliance with Wakanda or destroying it, which only adds to the general feeling that the script is a bit of a mess. And the 4 tiny wings on his ankles that allow him to fly simply don't translate well from the comic books to the big screen. It's lit like a DC movie, which is not a compliment, and the film also clumsily introduces the character of Ironheart, played by Dominique Thorne, who could be a young female successor to Iron Man going forward, but certainly gets a pretty inauspicious debut. The fact is, Coogler set the bar impossibly high with the first Black Panther movie, and the future of the franchise was always going to be in question after Boseman's death. Wakanda Forever, though it's a solid entry to the MCU, does little to provide an answer. The Black Panther sequel gets 3 stars.